Welcome to the Courage to Be podcast. I am your host, Tanya Vasallo. Let's talk about this dream, this crazy move that I'm doing to Indonesia. So about 13 years ago, I remember very clearly sitting down with my husband, watching a TED Talk. I used to love watching TED Talks. I haven't done it in a while. And this particular TED Talk was about incredible school in Bali, all made out of bamboo, no walls, in the middle of the jungle. And my husband and I just looked at each other at the end of the TED Talks and we were like, oh my God, too bad we don't have kids. This school looks amazing. I wish I could go to this school as an adult. And we left it there. And there was still a pull towards Bali. I've never been to Asia. And I was thinking to myself, like, wow, this place looks amazing. One day I'll go to Bali. And here we are about a year ago looking for middle schools for my daughter. And we were starting to sign up for all the different, what do you call those, orientations for the different schools. And I shared with the family, what if we moved to Bali, to that green school that we saw that TED Talks years ago? And my daughter immediately was on board. I was on board. And my husband was on board, but then started kind of doubting, like, oh, I don't know if I want to rent out the house and do all these other things. It's like we're comfortable. You have your routines. When you get to a certain age and you have your certain comforts and routines, it's harder to get yourself out of it. So we left it at that. And I even tried to control the situation. At one point, it was my 50th birthday, and I wanted to I was like, oh, well, maybe for my 50th birthday, we could go to Bali. And maybe that way my husband will get to experience the energies of the place and the school and everything. And he'll want to move there too. And we ended up not doing that. It wasn't the right time to travel there. And and then my hairdresser actually brought up an interesting point to me. She's like, well, why do you have to move there for a whole year? Why don't you just take off for 3 months, like as soon as school's done, and leave June 1st and come back in August when school starts back up again. And I thought to myself, I'm like, she's right. Why are we complicating this? And so I kind of surrendered to that idea. Although at first I didn't like it as much because I have been going to Spain every summer with Isla. So it was kind of like, it would put me in this choice of like, oh, do we go to Spain or do we go to Bali or Asia for that summer? But the more I thought about it, I was like, okay, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. And that's what I did. I just kind of thought that maybe this year, summer of 2025, that we could pick up and just go to Asia this summer. And instead, at the end of November in the wintertime, I just remember my husband and I sitting down in our meditation chairs, and him and I have had multiple adventures. I mean, we're kind of like ants in our pants. We've lived in 7 different cities and in 13 different homes in the time that we've been together. But since we've had our daughter, we really haven't moved much. We've stayed put. We bought a home, we had a daughter, and we've been living in Santa Fe for the last 14 years. So here we are meditating that morning. We're both sitting in our chairs, and he turns over to me and he says, we haven't had an adventure in quite some time. I think we should do it. And I'm like, do what? And he's like, I think we should move to Bali. And I'm like, are you serious? He's like, yeah, to the green school. I'm like, well, we haven't even applied for the school. The applications were in September. It's limited amount of students in there. And because it's a small ratio, student to teacher ratio. And I was like, are you sure? And he's like, yeah, we either do it now or we're never going to do it. We're not getting any younger. And the older you get, the less you want to do these things. So that's what started the whole thing. So we started applying for it. My daughter had to write an essay. It's not an easy application, I will say. It was like applying to university. She had to write an essay. She had to do a video of herself. We had to write a letter as why our family should be chosen for this particular school. And we filled out all the paperwork. We did everything. And it takes about 5 to 6 weeks for them to give you an answer. But they did, and she was accepted. There was room. It seemed like it was a fit for us and the school. And there's our adventure starting, and we're in the thick of it. We still haven't left. We're in the move. I will record another episode with the lessons that I've learned along the way. But I wanted to record this so that you'd have a reference, that when a desire is planted in your heart and you truly want that desire, you never know how long it might take. We really don't know how long the germination process and part of it is. So keep that in mind. I invite you to, if you have any dreams that you've kind of tucked away in the corners of your mind that you've abandoned, that you're like, oh, I can't do that, and you've kind of given up on them, I invite you to refresh, go back to them, and see if it's possible. And don't allow yourself to talk yourself out of it. If it's meant for you, it's meant for you. And you don't know what dreams may come out of it. So might manifest. And some of them take only a couple months, some take a couple days, some take a couple weeks. And like ours, this one in particular, my husband and I remember very clearly 13 years ago, we didn't even have a kid, that we wanted to go to Bali. And now we're going there and we're living there. So what are some of your dreams that you've tucked away? Please, please share with me. You can comment on YouTube. You can send me a DM on Instagram or email us at our email that we have in the show notes. I'd love to hear it. And if you know of someone that's dreaming or that's tucked away their dreams, please share this episode with them. Until our next episode, have a fabulous day. And remember to always choose courage over comfort. If you loved today's episode, it would mean so much if you rate and review The Courage to Be on Apple Podcast. Not only does it help the show to grow, but it also gets you in the running for something amazing. Every month, I draw one lucky winner to receive a complimentary 7-night, 8-day vacation. You'll get to pick from over 3,000 beautiful resorts worldwide. You just cover the taxes and fees like you would with a travel rewards. Airfare is not included. And if you want to double your chances, along with your Apple Podcast review, leave a couple of comments on YouTube. That counts as a second entry. Just send your screenshots to help.thecouragetobe@gmail.com, and you'll find the email in the show notes too. It only takes a moment, and who knows, your next adventure might be closer than you think. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you on our next episode of the Courage to Be podcast.